Hey guys, Char5 here, and today we are ending Movie Monster Week with probably one that a lot of people recognize and a lot of people grew up with, Michael Myers. I didn't personally grow up with this movie monster. I'd known about him, I think, until I was older. Actually, I don't know. To me, I guess the Halloween franchise was not a very recognizable one. And I think that might have to do with the impact the movie may or may not have in Mexico. I didn't know anyone that knew this monster, and I guess that might have contributed to the fact that I kind of grew up not knowing him either. And as a result, like again, it's another character whose movies I've never seen, but you know, as opposed to other movie monsters, I have a little bit of interest in actually watching the Halloween films, if only because I know, like, the status that they have as iconic, you know. It features Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know how many movies are there, but I know she was, like, in the first two, I believe. And I think that's where she got her nickname as Scream Queen, because she was the protagonist, I believe, of the films, and it was remade by Rob Zombie, I believe, as well. And I've been told that I should check those remakes out, and I think I will down the line. Again, I have an intrigue for the films and the series. The character was a very simple one to draw, and I think this one really I think goes to show how much I sort of improved as an artist, because I think my hatching got better for some reason. I don't know what it was, if it was the simplicity of it, because as I've said before, if you have something that's really iconic and at the same time really simple, it's very easy to mess it up. Like, it could have been incredibly easy for me to have messed up Ghostface's portrait, and in this case I feel like it would have been incredibly just as easy to mess up Michael Myers' portrait, because facial features are not easy for me, and he has very distinguished facial features, like the shape of his face, you know, the thickness of his lips, the shadows on his face, you know, it's all those things that can make a person look incredibly different. But for the most part, I do think that I got the design of Michael Myers down for this one, especially, like, again, since it's so iconic and so simple at the same time. And I think that was really a theme, because I believe Halloween, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Halloween might have been a late 70s horror film, wasn't it? Again, I don't really know much about the background or history of the movies or the characters. I just know that a lot of people do love this film, and, you know, immediately think of it as a horror icon. I know that maybe a lot of people would have been expecting me to do, or us to do, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre as part of the movie Monsters, and, well, the thing was, I feel like, yes, Leatherface is pretty iconic, but maybe I don't know. I felt like we could have with the monsters that we chose some of the more iconic ones. Maybe Samara not as iconic, but I think choosing her might have been for the best in terms of, like, representation, females versus males, because we really did want to include her in the list, I think, was the problem. And Leatherface, again, it's from a movie that we've never seen before, and not that it stopped us at any point, but we chose the ones that we think would have been more iconic and the ones that we wanted to draw ultimately. So yeah, as I've said, another theme that is really recurrent in these drawings is the heavy use of shadows and black, and I feel like the more characters I drew, the more black there was in their design. ironically. Like, so far, I think nothing beats Ghostface. He had so much black in his design because of that cloak. But, you know, the more I go into it, there's more and more and more heavy shadows and more, you know, black clothes and stuff like that. It's crazy. And for me to be using the one setting on my pen tool, I feel like that's where most of my time goes, because I can finish the face in, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, or an hour and a half, and it's just the rest of that half hour, because I don't know why exactly, but these usually take me around 2 to 3 hours, and like, it's not like I'm rushing them at all or anything. Like, I'm just going with the flow. However long it takes me is however long it takes me. But for some reason, whenever I check the footage, it's like, yeah, it always is. Sometimes under 2 hours, like just under, like a minute or two under 2 hours. Sometimes 2.5, but I don't think it's ever gone over 3 hours, you know, in a recording session for me. Which, again, is weird for me, because I don't. It feels like it's taking much longer. So I don't really understand why I'm averaging the same times for all these designs, especially considering that they're all such different movie monsters. I do appreciate you guys, you know, commenting and watching these, because, again, as I've said a lot in not only this series, but in a lot of other videos, not a lot of people give my more original stuff a chance. And if you look at the numbers for every single Creepy Month, you'll notice that they're not really all too popular. And I end up doing them more so as a passion project than as something specifically for my channel. And it's very unfortunate, considering that, you know, I don't think that what I do is bad, you know, when it comes to the horror narrations, which some of you have actually have suggested I do again. And I don't know, maybe I'll do something special for Halloween, considering I'm a little ahead of myself with these drawings. Fortunately, and I wanted to be ahead of myself, because I wanted to maybe finish them and have more free time instead of trying to rush these out, you know, day after day after day. But I just might do a horror narration for the end of the month, because some of you guys wanted me to, and I think that that's awesome, because, again, to me it is really disappointing to see so many people following, and yet not so many of them, you know, watching. It gets to the point where I have 100,000 people following, and only not even a thousand of them watch these. And I understand, you know, they come more for the gaming stuff, but I feel like there's nothing wrong in watching the more artistic stuff, because after all, to me, that's always what this channel has been about. It's about more artistic stuff than it is video games. I mean, it became more about video games once I started doing the parodies, and I'm not, you know, against doing video game related stuff. It's just the more original stuff doesn't really get too much attention, and doing parody stuff, to me, I feel like it's more, in a way, demeaning, if that makes any sense. In the sense that it's like, oh, well, you know, if I try to collaborate with bigger channels, they might feel uncomfortable knowing that they're collaborating with someone who doesn't really make things that are all too original. But, you know, to me, it's like, well, don't judge me based on really what I make, but me as a person. And you know that I do what I do out of respect. It's not like I'm inherently ripping another more successful channel off, because I haven't stolen subscribers from them, and I haven't, you know, claim that what I do is mine. You know, that I think that's a discussion for another day. But mostly what I'm trying to say is, if you're watching this, I do greatly and deeply appreciate it. I appreciate your support and watching this, because not a lot of people care about the arts. And it's funny, because videos are an art form. Making videos are an art form. It's audio-visual content that you're creating, even if it doesn't involve drawing or whatever. It's like, it's editing. It's still using, you know, audio-visual format. It's using sound. It's using visuals. It's art by definition. And ironically, YouTube is a terrible place for artists, because, you know, the amount of time it takes us to produce stuff it doesn't pay off very well. Animators are getting screwed because, you know, of the algorithm, which is why, you know, animation just sort of died out. Like, it's not, I'm glad that there are still people out there who are animating. To me, that's awesome. And if if animation paid better, then I'd probably be animating a lot of stuff too. And the ironic thing is I still do, despite everything. And I think that this was something else that really inspired me, you know. It takes, yes, time to draw these, and it does take out time out of my day when I could be focusing on other projects. But I do, you know, want to keep doing this because I am first and foremost an artist, and I love drawing. And to me, like, if I didn't draw, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't care about doing what I'm doing, and I wouldn't have a passion if not for drawing. So to me, this is precious. It's something that I get to do, and it's something that I love. Even if I'm stressed out, I end up just finding peace in it. Like, I figured today, you know, like when I took a break to get something to eat, I don't know, I started to feel a little upset that I wasn't drawing anymore. Okay, I guess I've gone off tangent for a long time, because again, unfortunately, I haven't watched this series of films, so I can't really commentate much on it, but I can commentate on what I've been doing this week in terms of the art and how I've been drawing this. But yeah, to me, like, probably out of the movie Monsters, this one might, aside from the Ghostface one, because that one is just so incredibly easy, this one might be the cleanest one. Again, due to its simplicity and just how I did the shadows, I really liked it, and this is the final piece. Tomorrow we will be starting with, I think we called it Cutesy Week. Basically, what's going to take place is less so horror monsters, but more so things that we can associate with, like, oh, this is more something that's creepy for kids, or something that's like Halloween related but for kids and stuff like that. So, ironically, a lot of things that might remind you of Tim Burton movies, and most of them are directly related to Tim Burton movies. We're going to be kicking off with something that I think a lot of people can recognize, maybe a lot of people might hate because of how much, you know, presence it has in our modern society. Like, and I don't know when that started, because growing up, I don't remember too many people talking about it, but nowadays a lot of people love this movie and these characters, because I'm not just going to be drawing one character anymore. Tomorrow I'm going to be drawing two, so I do hope you'll check that one out, and who knows, maybe because it's cute, more people will want to watch it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and stay awesome. This is Char5, signing off.
Yeah, baby!